Roman gladiators were trained inside professional athletic academies that operated for centuries across the empire. They were fed specific diets, supervised by physicians, and subjected to training methodologies so refined that the Greek physician Galen, who served as a doctor at one of the major gladiator schools, wrote treatises on their preparation that influenced sports medicine for over 1,000 years. These men did not have machines. They did not have supplements. They did not have any of the tools the modern fitness industry insists are necessary for serious results. What they had instead were 3 core movement patterns trained relentlessly. Here is exactly what those movements were and how to replicate them with what you already have at home. The doctores, the trainers who ran the gladiator schools, operated on a principle that modern fitness has almost entirely lost. The body becomes prepared for genuine combat when it trains exactly the qualities combat requires, not isolated muscles, not aesthetic balance, power production, weapon endurance, sustained output under fatigue, and the ability to absorb impact without breaking. These were the only metrics that mattered, because in the arena, they were the only metrics that decided whether a man walked out alive. Here's what that looked like in practice. By the way, if you want to heal your entire body and feel 10 years younger, then I've created a guide showing you how to heal your body through simple exercises. Click the link in the description for access. Exercise 1. The Gladiator Weighted Strike. Most people don't realize that gladiators trained with weighted weapons that were significantly heavier than the equipment they actually used in combat. The Roman writer Vigesius, who documented Roman military training in detail, described how soldiers and gladiators alike practiced with wooden swords called rudis and wicker shields that were deliberately made roughly twice the weight of the real equipment. The principle was simple: train heavy, fight light. When a gladiator stepped into the arena with his actual gladius, which weighed around 1 kilogram, it felt almost weightless compared to the wooden training weapon he had been swinging for hours every day. This created a quality that modern training rarely produces: striking endurance. The ability to generate explosive force with the upper body repeatedly, hundreds of times in succession, without the shoulders, forearms, and grip giving out. Most modern training builds either strength or endurance. Gladiator training built explosive endurance. The capacity to produce maximum force over and over again until the engagement ended. This movement takes the principle behind weighted weapon training and applies it to equipment available today. Hold a moderately heavy dumbbell or single kettlebell in one hand. Stand in a staggered stance with the opposite foot forward. Drive the weight forward and slightly across the body in a controlled striking motion. Then return it under control to the starting position. The motion is not a press, it is a strike. The power initiates from the back foot, travels up through the hips, rotates through the core, and exits through the arm. What's happening underneath is the reason this kind of training has been used by combat cultures across history. The hips and core are generating the actual force. The shoulder and arm are simply transmitting it. This is the correct sequence for any genuine striking movement. And it is exactly the sequence modern isolated training fails to develop. The obliques and deep rotational muscles of the core are working under load, not crunching, not flexing, but rotating against resistance. This is the most functional form of core training there is, because rotation under load is how the body actually generates power in almost every athletic movement. At the same time, the grip is being challenged continuously. Every rep demands a tight, secure hold on a weight that wants to pull out of the hand at the moment of full extension. Forearm and grip development happens automatically, without ever being trained directly. 3 to 4 sets of 15 to 20 reps per side. Use a weight that becomes genuinely difficult in the final third of each set. The form should not break down, but the muscles should be burning by the end. That is the precise zone where explosive endurance is built. Exercise 2. The Gladiator Sandpit Drill. The training arena floors of the Ludi were covered in sand. This was not decorative. The sand served a specific purpose that doctores understood intuitively: even if they couldn't articulate it in modern biomechanical terms. Sand absorbs force. It shifts underfoot. It punishes any movement that lacks proper foundation. Training on sand demanded a level of stabilization, balance, and lower body engagement that flat, solid ground simply does not require. Gladiators spent hours every day moving across this surface, lunging, pivoting, advancing, retreating, and absorbing the force of weapon impacts while their feet sank into shifting ground. The result was lower body development that extended far beyond surface muscle. The stabilizing structures of the ankle, knee, and hip became dense, reactive, and capable of absorbing forces that would destroy untrained joints. Taking that demand and reducing it to its core mechanics produces this movement. Find a soft, unstable surface if possible. A sand patch, a thick mat, or even soft grass will work. If none are available, the movement still produces results on solid ground. From a standing position, drop into a deep forward lunge with one leg, lowering the back knee until it nearly touches the ground. Pause. Drive explosively off the front leg back to standing. Immediately lunge with the other leg. Continue alternating with no rest between reps. This trains something almost no other lower body exercise develops: the ability to produce power from a deep, single leg position with full stabilization demand. Most squats and presses load both legs symmetrically, allowing the stronger side to compensate for the weaker. The lunge eliminates that compensation entirely. Each leg has to produce its own force from its own deep position with its own stabilization. The bottom of each lunge is where the real work happens. The front quad is loaded under stretch. The glute is fully engaged. The deep hip flexors of the trailing leg are being lengthened, and the entire structure has to remain stable while transitioning back to standing without using momentum. That is the part most people get wrong. They bounce out of the bottom using elastic recoil. Gladiator training would have eliminated that habit immediately, because in the arena, there was no spring loading. Force had to be produced from dead positions, repeatedly under fatigue. For conditioning, 3 rounds of 16 to 20 total reps with 60 seconds of rest. For a more demanding variation, hold a moderate dumbbell or kettlebell in each hand throughout. The added load forces every stabilizing structure to work harder. The first time most people do this loaded, they discover muscles in their lower body they did not know existed. Exercise 3. The Gladiator Shield Hold. Here is the part that you're probably not expecting. The shield carried by certain classes of gladiator, particularly the Murmillo and the Secutor, was a heavy, curved scutum that weighed around 7 to 10 kilograms. This shield was not held passively. It was actively positioned, repositioned, and braced against incoming strikes for the entire duration of a fight, which could last anywhere from a few minutes to over an hour, depending on the engagement. This created a demand on the upper body that almost no modern training replicates. Sustained isometric loading at varying angles. The shoulder, forearm, upper back, and grip were locked into position, holding mass against gravity and impact for extended periods, with the demand only varying when the fighter chose to attack or had to absorb a strike. Here is the modern replication. Hold a moderately heavy dumbbell or kettlebell in one hand at chest height, with the elbow tucked close to the body, as if bracing a shield. The arm is bent at roughly 90 degrees. The weight is supported entirely by isometric contraction of the shoulder, biceps, and forearm. Now walk, not casually, purposefully. Maintain the bracing position as you cover ground. What surprises people the first time they try this is how quickly the shoulder begins to burn. Within 30 seconds, the deltoid is on fire. Within 90 seconds, the entire arm is shaking. Holding a loaded position statically while in motion is one of the most demanding things a shoulder can be asked to do, and it exposes weaknesses that pressing exercises will never reveal. There is no rest at the top of a rep. There is no momentum to ride. The weight is either held or it isn't. At the same time, the opposite side of the body is working to counterbalance the asymmetrical load. The obliques and deep spinal stabilizers are firing constantly to prevent the torso from twisting toward the loaded side. Every step is a stabilization challenge. The legs and hips are managing all of this while simply walking forward. This is where the carry becomes diagnostic. A weak shoulder will start to drift downward within the first 30 seconds. A weak rotator cuff will cause the elbow to flare outward. Tight thoracic mobility will produce visible torso rotation with every step. The movement finds the problems and forces the body to address them simultaneously, under load, in real time. The conditioning effect compounds quickly. The cardiovascular demand climbs steadily because multiple muscle groups are under continuous tension. The body adapts, or it slows down. There is no coasting through this exercise. For beginners, 30 to 40 seconds per arm. For more developed athletes, 60 to 90 seconds per arm. Switch sides. 3 to 4 rounds with brief rest between them. These 3 movements together address every quality a complete training program needs to develop. Explosive striking power, rotational core strength, deep position lower body output, single leg stabilization, isometric shoulder endurance, asymmetrical core control, and sustained cardiovascular capacity under load. The doctores of the Ludi did not divide training into strength days and conditioning days. They did not separate the body into muscle groups and schedule them across a week. They built complete combat capacity because their athletes needed complete combat capacity to survive. The bodies excavated at the gladiator cemeteries weren't the result of more time, more equipment, or more complexity. They were the result of better principles, applied consistently with almost nothing. And if you want to heal your entire body and feel 10 years younger, I've created a guide showing you exactly how to do that through simple exercises. Click the link in the description for access.